Hey everyone, what's the crack? Lawrence here with the long-awaited Simucube SC3 Pro and the Pro SAVU wheel. These have a high price tag. Let's see if they live up to it. Let's do this. So first things first, a little bit different to my usual videos. They're already unboxed. If you like them already being unboxed, let me know. In this case, I had some pre-production packaging, but the products themselves are production ready. So this is exactly what people would get. So let's have a look at the wheelbase first. So the wheelbase, first things first, it looks really nice. This is very subtle design. It does have this orange stripe on it, but it's got very nice, crisp, clean lines, which I really like. And the design is very much in the shaft of it here as well. One of the big differences that you'll see is the quick release is different to how the old Simucube quick release used to be. I did not like that quick release. Or one of the things I would highlight to people when they wanted to buy Simucube is that quick release is difficult to live with. And I know that a lot of people have forgotten, you know, where they've put those pins, and there's a pin that goes straight through it. It's just a little bit annoying. This one, a lot nicer. We've got this kind of pincer type mechanism on this Dorito shaped front, if that makes sense. They have technical terms for it, but I try not to use their marketing spiel when I'm talking this, because this is my message that I'm sending about this product and not their message. Even though this stuff was sent to me free of charge and all that, these are just tools for my review. So this is no different to me for the purposes of this video than like a €200 wheelbase would be. So some welcome additions. We retain the front mount. So the front mount is one of Simucube's hallmarks. They were one of the first to do a proper front mount. Now the thing is, this front mount pattern is slightly different. It's slightly smaller actually than the SC2 Pro. So or any of the SC2s. So the SC3, this form factor is all similar for all the SC3s. It's slightly smaller. So if you have a front mount with fixed holes and not slots, that could be an issue. You might have to upgrade your front mount if you're upgrading to SC3. And whether it's an upgrade or not, we'll get to that later in the video. Spoiler alert, if you want to spend your money, you've probably already made your decision and you're looking for affirmation. I wouldn't tell anybody not to do it, but if you're expecting a huge leap up from SC2, the SC2 products, you're not going to get that huge leap up unless there are very specific things that you're looking for. In the quick release, we also see, for the first time from Simucube, we see some pass-through connectivity. So we've got power pass-through, we've got data pass-through. They use data pass-through with their own proprietary system. It's a light-based system, like an optical system. It's not USB pass-through. So that's a very important thing for people to know. And many of you watching this video already know, but I will say this. Having spoken to Simucube about the lack of USB pass-through, they said they're not entirely, you know, closed off to doing it. They're just not going to provide it. What does that mean? In future, we may see companies, and I know companies are actively already working on it, a little adapter that you can just slot on here that will allow USB pass-through. Just expose a little USB port and you can use your USB wheels then. Simucube is not officially supporting it. Why are they turning their back on USB? And I know the Simucube, the little link box, still requires USB, but bear with me. The reason they want to turn their back on USB is because they want to reduce the points of failure. If you have several devices all using USB, you have several points of potential failure. Most of the time, when you have an issue with a screen on a wheel, with a force feedback issue, a pedals issue, it's most likely going to be a USB issue. And that is just a fact, a universal fact. Now you have to imagine the market that Simucube is aiming at is not just the people like you who are watching this video, but also the high-end, the €1 million simulators. And it is a terrible look for them when the investor who knows nothing about the €1 million simulator is asking, why is the simulator offline? And all they have is, oh, we have a USB issue. So reliability for them, where most are fine with 99% reliability, they want 99.999. And I completely understand that. But for the consumers who know how to go and Google a USB issue and all that, I know that's an issue. Hopefully, if companies do come up with a little USB adapter that can be put on here, that would be great. This front part of the shaft does come off because there is an extension as well that you can put on here. Before I move on too far though, back to the mounting solution, the welcome addition of base mounting. So this, what you see right here, is actually the exact Fanatec pattern right now. It's the same width as the pattern that Simucube uses, Moza uses it. Many manufacturers kind of use that Fanatec pattern because loads of rigs supported it. So great to see Simucube not straying too far from the norm there and finally introducing this. I don't know about you guys, I think base mounted steering wheels actually look better than front mounted steering wheels. And when something looks as nice as this, I would want to show as much of that as possible off. Now on mine, I actually have the screens right up here, so you don't see much of the base at all, but still what you do see is very nice and very clean. To the back of the unit, we've covered most of the stuff. It's a heavy unit as well, guys. And this, of course, is the 25 Newton meter. It's the Pro. Pretty much everything that I say about this applies to the Sport. The Sport will just have less power or less dynamic range. What I say about this may or may not apply to the Ultimate. And the reason for that is the Ultimate actually uses a different motor technology, a more refined and more expensive motor technology. So it's not just a stronger version of this, it's actually a different product. I don't have that here. Do go check out some of the reviewers who do have access to those. For me, too many wheelbases is just too many reviews to do. So I wanted the Pro. This is the one that most people would be interested in. If this one's slightly too steep at €1,600, you're gonna have to go for the Sport. On the back, we've got power. We've got the SC Link, which again we'll cover in a moment. That's basically an Ethernet port. And we've got the control box as well, which is the little control unit that allows you to set the power, allows you to set the emergency stop and all that stuff. You can have that plugged in there, and that works really, really well. I have already had this on the rig and I've actually been using it for several weeks, but I've been using early versions of the firmware. They have just released their final firmware for release. So I'm going to put it through my first impressions process, even though it's not necessarily my first time ever using the product. I will show you the software, I'll show you everything about it, and remark on some of the things that I feel and that I notice and what it's like to live with. So that's the wheelbase covered. Let's go and check out the SAVU. So moving on to the SAVU. This is the SAVU Pro. There is a SAVU Sport as well. And while they're the same size and everything, the Pro just has slightly more functionality. You'll see some more rotaries and stuff on here, but everything else is pretty much the same. We also get clutch paddles on the back, and we have these extra paddles at the top, and they feel exactly like the shifters. So if you wanted to, you could use them as shifters. I generally use one for pit limiter and one for flashing lights. That's just a personal preference. It frees up these buttons, and they're kind of you don't accidentally hit those, but it's nice to grab your pit limiter at the exact right time rather than clicking a button. That's just my own opinion, and you will never accidentally hit that. That's just how I use it. We've got some rotary encoders here, and you can hear they've got a lovely sound to them. These ones don't have as nice a detent, but they are still very good. These ones as well, decent detent to those, and there's a nice left, right, up and down, and of course a downshift. So they're proper 7-way hats. The Simucube logo is slightly recessed on it. Styling wise, honestly, when I saw photos of this, I wasn't too convinced. Seeing it in person, it is a lot nicer. And guys, once you hold these grips, you'll understand a lot better about their design philosophy. Even where my fingers go in behind the grips, there's just a lovely little recess for them. I found these grips to be absolutely fantastic. I probably wouldn't change a thing about them. They're really, really nice to use. You also have thumb rotaries here, and they have a lovely detent. And the buttons, of course, have a nice click to them. We've got our LEDs for the rev lights, and we've got flag indicators there as well. We'll show them in the software in a while. And I forgot to mention, these have a click down, but there's not a lot of travel on that click down. So you could accidentally hit those. If you do have this for traction control or whatever, and maybe you're going to grab this, you could accidentally hit that and turn off your traction control. Just be aware of that. But you get those 5 rotaries here, and you've got 2 thumb rotaries as well. That's a lot of rotaries. We have an on-off switch on the back. So that basically just puts your steering wheel to sleep. We also have a USB port here, which can be used for, I guess, for flashing firmware and all that. I have not needed it here because I am within the ecosystem. I haven't tested this outside of the ecosystem, so forgive me for my lack of knowledge on that part. The buttons themselves, you'll see they're in a very kind of a laid out configuration, but the eagle-eyed amongst you will see that you've got little bolts on here that you can move, and you can take this whole front plate off. All of these, you can take these buttons out and you can rearrange them very, very easily. So it would be nice to match them up, but it's nice that you don't have to configure that from the order, and it's easier for Simucube to ship them like this as well, I would assume. So it's quite nice. It's just, I think it's nice that you don't automatically see that you can change those buttons, but it is possible. The quick release itself, just to show some little details, I don't know how well that will show on the camera here, but you'll see there's a slight little edge of imperfection on the anodization here, which didn't happen while changing quick releases. Even though I have had this quick release off, I noticed it when I first took it off, and it was simply just, you don't even hold the part where you've got the little bit of damage. So just those sharp edges, whether it's, you know, a deburring thing or whether it's an anodization thing, I have made them aware of that, so they're going to pay a lot more attention to that. So I don't think it'll be an issue for you guys. But again, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible, and you guys are paying your life savings for one of these things. So I need to let you know exactly what's happening. Those paddles, they release this, and if you think back to the wheelbase, that just clamps onto the wheelbase. Let's grab the wheelbase and demo it. So just to demo the operation here, I'll just put a little bit of my rig under here. You do need to pull this. When it is on the rig, you can push it, but I do recommend just pulling it like this. It slots on a lot easier. That's your quick release mounted. When you want to take it off, you just go like this. Now I have noticed, and you see it there, there's a slight stickiness to it. It's not as nice as taking off an Asetek quick release or even a Simagic quick release. There's a little bit of stick to it, which I think is fine. It's rugged, it's very motorsports, because that's what happens with a lot of quick releases, especially as they get the vibrations and that. They want to eliminate all those vibrations out of it. So having a quick release that's very easy to take off could also mean that there are tolerances that allow those vibrations to go to places where they're not wanted. They're wanted in your hands and not in parts of the quick release. I did, when I got it, and again, I've highlighted this to Simucube, one of these bolts was loose, so there was a slight rattle in there. I couldn't find the issue with the steering wheel, couldn't find the issue with the shaft. I thought it might be a firmware issue, but then eventually I realized that this is actually two separate parts, which on most wheelbases it's not. So got that sorted pretty quickly, and I let them know about that as well. Again, all these little things that people don't think falls into the realm of being a reviewer, but we have to deal with these things, and we have to make you guys aware that ultimately this is the product that we got for review, so we have to review it as if you got it as a brand new product. And finally, two other unusual looking pieces of hardware that you don't usually need for other wheelbases. This is the SC Link unit that I spoke about. It is a simple USB device that changes USB to Ethernet. So if you just have a Simucube 3 wheelbase, you can use this, and this plugs straight into your wheelbase. This plugs to your PC. What confuses people here is they're getting away from USB. What's the point in this? Why not directly connect USB to the wheelbase? Again, if they've got two-way communication going with screens and all that, I don't know what smarts are in this, or if this is just simply going from USB to Ethernet, but it's a little confusing for people, and maybe they're just paving the way for the future where they completely get rid of USB. I'm not 100% sure, but for now, it is, if you just have the wheelbase, a lot of people will say, why couldn't I just connect it with USB? Why do I need an extra thing? Nice thing about this is it doesn't need a power supply, so it's not too intrusive on your rig. It's one cable in, one cable out. Red light appears around the edge, and then you're ready to go. This is essential. Even if you want to just use the SAVU steering wheel, you need one of these. So you can't even use that steering wheel, and I'm not sure how able you are to use that on third-party wheelbases, but you need one of these regardless. So that's kind of interesting. And the other device, this one is going to be a little bit confusing for people. This is a little, it looks like an Ethernet switch. It is a little Ethernet switch. So this basically, if you have more than one Simucube device, you would hook one of these, port 1, up to your link, and then the rest go to all your devices. So I actually do use all of these. I've got the triple active pedals. Each one of those uses one of these ports. The Simucube, the SC3 Pro, also uses one of these. So all these ports are all used on my rig. It's a lot of cables. They all terminate here, and this goes to here. And then there's only one USB cable that goes to your rig and manages it all. So there's nothing remarkable about this. It does require its own power supply. You have the ability to earth it. I didn't need to do that. Nothing too interesting or special. This is just a little bit, I would love to just see these two units being combined. I get that Simucube would then also have to manufacture this, and this is cheaper. But at the end of the day, we're paying €3,000 for this wheelbase and steering wheel. Something like that just makes it a little bit easier and nicer. It'd be even nicer again if it was smaller and if it was non-existent. And that's why some people can't get over the USB thing. A USB cable is just simple. These, in a lot of people's eyes, are not necessary. Simucube wants them from a reliability point of view. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Have your say in the comments below. I know it's one of the hottest topics at the moment. We've got Asetek, we've got Simagic, we've got SimLab are going to be releasing with their USB pass-through, and Simucube, which is arguably and always has been the benchmark for where we need to be, doesn't have USB pass-through. Is that a good move? Is it a bad move? I definitely want discussion on that because I think it's an interest. I understand why they did it. The market hasn't reacted great to it. So I just want you guys to discuss that in the comments. That's a good overview of the products themselves. I'm going to get this on the rig, get it all installed. We're going to do my first impressions, which I have not done with this wheel yet. I have not used this wheel on the car and track and sim, and I have not used the firmware yet. So it is a true first impressions of my usual combination where I can compare it to all the other competitors. This one is at the higher end of the pricing. I can say that I've had a great time with it in iRacing so far. A lot of good profiles. James Baldwin has a profile on there and it works really, really well. And the user interface is very nice. I'll show you all that as well when we get to the rig. So here we are in the rig. It mounted up quite easily. Now I've got the ASR Pro rig, so that makes this universal base mount very, very easy, very nice. The steering wheel goes on very, very easily, as you can see. There's a little bit of, it's fine when you've just put it on. After a bit of driving, it's a little bit sticky coming off, so we'll keep an eye on that. We see now that the lights actually came on this time. They didn't the last time I put it on. Those lights seem to have kind of a mind of their own. I did give them some feedback on that. They gave me new firmware, so I'm going to install that new firmware and see if they figured out some of those issues that I was having with the lights. Because one of them was the lights were all nice like this, and then as soon as I went in game, they turned off, and I just couldn't find the setting to turn on the lights while in game, which seems like a default behavior that it should have. So let's get into the software. I've got the latest firmware version. So when this loads up straight away, it's telling me there's a firmware update as well. So I have the latest software version here, but it wants to update my SC3 Pro. You can see all my devices connected, and I am in the insanely fortunate position where I also have all three pedals, active pedal pros on here as well. So yeah, that's pretty insane. The software is nice and polished, guys. When I hit update device, it's kind of, and this is almost reminiscent a little bit like the way Moza does it. I know Simucube has done it like this as well before, but it's a lot more polished than it has been. And now it's updating the wheelbase. There's no update for the steering wheel itself. Rebooting device. update succeeded, and then we hit close. So everything is as it should be. When we go in here, I have an old profile loaded here for EA Sports WRC. Let's just create a new one. Save the old ones. And the new profile here, I can also go and load a profile. So when I go to the Simucube presets, we've got Team Redline, we've got Tim Heineman, James Baldwin. We've got a lot of these there. We are going for Assetto Corsa today. So rather than me messing around, I want to show the nicest way to actually just get started. So the main Assetto Corsa one that's jumping out is this James Baldwin. So let's, I did just already save my profile, but, oh no, that was the new profile. I'll discard the profile. So this is James Baldwin. Let's have a look what's happening here. We've got this nice way of organizing the controls here. So we've got our overall power. One or more devices that start all devices. It does that. The devices do go to sleep. Start all the devices here. The simulator force feedback shaping is kind of an interesting one here. So it's like a kind of a general slider to allow you to say how intense the forces are. So it goes all the way from lazy to extreme. Here it's set to relatively strong, 94%. We're not going to mess with these settings. We're going to trust that research went into these settings, and I'm going to give you my first impressions on how those settings feel. We see a little bit of damping in here, which is often, for a simulator like Assetto Corsa, it can give you just a little bit too much detail, and when you've got a lot of power going through a wheel, it can be a little bit too chatty. So the damper kind of helps with that. We've got a little bit of friction strength, so that brings up kind of the minimum force, not really minimum force, but your force when you're moving over surfaces. It just increases, it amplifies that force just a little bit. You see that stuff goes back to sleep when it's not in use. Bump stop medium, got preset telemetry. Everything here is off, force feedback telemetry, and I'm not sure if that is supported. We are going to be turning that on, seeing if it gives us anything extra in the game. And device settings here. Nothing else too interesting. 900-degree rotation. I'm just going to leave it as is. We're going to jump in game. So my car and track of choice, always, for all these years that I've been doing force feedback reviews, this is my car and track of choice. Feeling a lot of vibration. I can tell there's a huge amount of detail already. There's a little bit of there's a little bit of a dead zone in between left and right. So I can move the wheel ever so slightly. And that's a little bit, that's going to be definitely going to be a little bit, we'll see if it happens during corners. But that's definitely going to be a little bit of an issue. Let's see. Very heavy force feedback. It is on max. And I've got the little controller here. So you can turn this up, and you see in the bottom of the screen, we can see the force going up and down as we do that, which is quite nice. I can also turn it off from here, and I don't have that solidly mounted at the moment. I just have it sitting on the rig, but it seems to be at 100%, 25 Newton meters. It's definitely super heavy. And I wouldn't run it like this myself. But I can imagine these cars are very heavy. Trying to feel the details of force feedback. The speed at which the bounces are translated is super crisp. But that's really nice. I'm feeling a lot of road texture. I am going to turn down the force just a little bit. So really nice that I can just do that with the controller here. Let's just run it down at 15 Newton meters. See if that's a little bit more enjoyable. That feels quite light now. So I'm not getting a huge amount of forces. The detail is definitely there. But it's like the forces are muted all across the board. And let's just see on the corner entry here, I like to feel the steering wheel load up. I can feel it, but at 15 Newton meters, and I've got the car set to 100% in-game force feedback, this does not feel anywhere near 15 Newton meters of force feedback. So let's go and have a quick look at the settings and see if there's something that jumps out. And this is on at, I just want to, I'm going to set this to extreme, 125. Road texture boost. I don't want to boost anything as such. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this down at where it was. I think it was 97%. Something like that. I'm going to turn down the damper a bit. I'm actually going to just turn off the damper. Let's do that. Turn it off completely. And see how that feels. Just trying to feel through the steering wheel. I'm going to turn up the forces again. Again, like it's saying 20 Newton meters now. Oh yeah, that's all right. Okay. For this car, maybe it's just this car thing. I definitely wouldn't be recommending any damper. Yeah, there we go. So when I locked up there and when I'm over rotating coming out of the corners, I'm just feeling that little bit more. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm extra sensitive to it because I drive this car for all my force feedback and I generally turn off those dampers and sliders anyway. Now I'm getting a lot more road texture. And finding that limit. You can see I'm doing quite a lot of steering and the car is staying quite smooth. And that tends to be the case in this car anyway. Oh, a little bit hot through there. And yeah, so it's loading up a lot nicer now. Maybe I'm just getting a bit more used to it. But as I send it, and the tires are getting a bit warmer, which probably helps. But as I send it through these corners, those vibrations through the rig are very strong. They're not like the high-pitched vibrations that we got with the Simucube Evo. They're very strong vibrations. So I am, in a lot of ways, definitely feeling that amount of power coming through. It's as I say, I have it set to 20 Newton meters right now. And it has another 5 Newton meters that you could play with. But honestly, I like my force feedback quite heavy, and this is damn nice. We will notice though, got no LEDs still on here, so I want to fix my LEDs because I like my LEDs. I really, really don't see the point of allowing for LED profiles but not having them active in game. It just makes zero sense to me. So I'm just playing the telemetry. So now ABS, traction control, DRS, it's playing all of them. But where are my LEDs? Generic. So set it to generic. How do I go back? Trigger button, input LED. How do I get back to the screen that I was just in? Can't click out of that. Discard. Okay. So if I set it to lime, nothing's happening. If I set it to Rainbow Road, nothing's happening. They still haven't fixed these LEDs. This is like genuinely an issue for me. Generic. Glacier. It's not changing the LED profile. Like this is, I'm supposed to have a release version of the software here, and this does frustrate me, guys. This really frustrates me because I can't show you, and this, in my eyes, is a very, very basic thing. Maybe it's not important to you guys, but this is important to me. I like my LEDs to be a certain color, a certain, I just like to look a certain way, and they're just not doing anything right now. I don't know. That's like kind of controlled brightness. The brightness is taking effect. When I go into edit it, editing the colors is a bit annoying as well. So you have to click, you click and unclick, then it appears here as a black one. Then you have to click it and go to color picker, and then you can change the color, and then you only see the color once you hit OK. Oh, but it's not taking effect here either. And it's on breathe. I don't know why this is like this whole LED thing is completely broken, guys. I'm sorry. This is not working. I'm gonna abandon it for the purposes of this. LEDs are broken, and I'm not happy about it, to be honest, because I can't review a product, and this is not a review. Thankfully, this is the first impressions video because we've had no time to prepare for this. Any reviews that you see, maybe it's working for them. I don't know, but I have the same software version as everybody else, and it's just not working for me. So look, let's get back to the driving, and let's see what else we can determine here. I think I'm getting a huge amount, and Assetto Corsa is my sim of choice for testing force feedback. I'm getting, let me talk you guys through the things that I look for. So here, loading up and trying to position the car. Perfect. There's a little bit of camber and a little bit of some dips here where the steering gets light and heavy. So it's beautiful for testing that. Here, a high-speed corner where you really want to be able to depend on pointing the car. And even a lively car like this, you want to be able to correct as early as possible. It does that absolutely perfectly. Fairly blind corner here, and you really want to line that up for the exit. Another blind corner coming up here. Down one. Then on this straight, there are some lovely bumps in the road that you can feel. That issue that I had in the pits, you know, where I highlighted that there was a little bit of dead zone or something. Not noticing that on track as much at all. If anything, no, it behaves very, very well while on track. And here you want to feel the front because you don't want to lock up. And the exit on here is very, very lively. So you don't want to over accelerate there, and you want to be able to catch the slide. Like, in my view, right now, this is as close to the best as I've ever had. It's perfect. Is it much different? Sorry. Is it much different to SC2 Pro? I don't think so. I don't know if there's... Now, I'm not testing them back-to-back either. So... Oh, God, it feels so good. I'm not testing them back-to-back, so I don't... You know, I can't categorically say that. But if I would definitely put money on this being one of the best force feedback experiences there is out there. And they have telemetry support now. So I'm going to enable that and see if that makes any bit of a difference, if I can actually feel it. Let's go for aggressive telemetry. And let's go road, texture, cornering. There's no ABS. There's RPM here and this gear change. Let's see how it behaves. Yeah, let's just send it and see if it's different. See if it's too much, too little. Maybe Assetto Corsa isn't even... Oh my God, that's way heavier. Way, way heavier. Now, that... Oh my God. That's... Jesus Christ, that's what 20 Newton meters... That's what 20 Newton meters feels like. Okay. The cynical part of me is thinking that the non-telemetry might be dialed down a little bit. So that when you enable telemetry, it's like, oh my God, there's so much more force and range available. That's very, very cynical of me. But this is nuts. What if I turn that up? If I turn that up to 25. Jesus Christ. Oh, get through the corner. Oh my God, no, that's borderline dangerous. So let's see where the comfortable... Let's put it back down to 15. See if that's comfortable now with the telemetry. And see if we can get to a... I'm feeling very little range. It's numbed all the range here. All the range of the textures of the road and stuff are gone. There's nothing happening. You can see the steering wheel. Once I'm committed to a corner, there's absolutely no change in force. Through this corner again. So that's not good. Let's turn off road texture. Oh, cornering intensity is probably the one that did that. Let's leave road texture on. And let's see if the cornering one... Yeah, the cornering one definitely made that difference. I feel a lot of the road. I quite like that, you know. Because it's not a vibration as such. It's... And I'm going to turn up the force again. Oops, up to 20. That's where I had it. That feels good. There is a constant vibration going through the steering wheel, which you would definitely have in real life. I think it adds to immersion. It's a little bit like there's a butt kicker stuck to the wheelbase. Let me just turn it off and see what it's like without it again. Road texture. Oh, there's a motor vibration one as well. Maybe I want the motor vibration and not the road... sorry, maybe I want the road texture and not the motor vibration. Yeah, that feels good. There's definitely... Like, what Simucube has always done to absolute perfection, in my view, even with the SC2 Sport, is the connection of the steering wheel to the steering shaft, just fooling me into thinking that that's connected. It has always been so good at it. Even when you turn the force down, it feels like it's very one-to-one with what's happening in the simulator. And that's a difficult thing to achieve. The only reason I say it's a difficult thing to achieve is because a lot of other manufacturers don't achieve it. Yeah, those couple of little telemetry effects, they're fun. They're definitely fun. They're not game-changing. The experience was already great without it. Would I miss it if they were gone? Probably not. But again, I use Assetto Corsa for a reason, because you feel all those bumps. I've used Moza R5s and Simagic Alpha Minis and lower powered bases, and I've felt those amazing, or I've looked out for those amazing things. The R5, I guess, didn't really give it to me the same way like a Moza R12 did or whatever. So maybe you need that 10 Newton meters. Like, look at the way the steering wheel moves as I go over these curbs and as I push the understeer and try to negotiate the oversteer a little bit. Like through this corner here. Like, that is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it through the camera, but there's so many adjustments going on, and it's so easy to find the edge. Also, look, I don't know if you can see like the bottom of the screen here, but if you look at how the screen vibrates and how the steering wheel vibrates, it looks like they're connected. See that? So when I go over curbs and stuff, if you really look at the steering wheel, you can see the shape of the car. Just, do you get what I mean about it being connected? And that's a difficult thing to achieve. And I'm always so convinced by Simucube, it's something that they really understand. And some other brands, they leave that a little bit dampened, a little bit disconnected. I think there is a lot of consciousness in this firmware of what the simulator is trying to tell it. I think that they must do an incredible amount of testing, and they might have some sophisticated equipment to test all this, but oh, it's absolutely glorious. It's a glorious experience for force feedback. It really is. If anybody is, jeez, I'm going to go to the summary. I probably went on for longer than I should have there, because I really enjoyed this. And I'm going to try and put it into words for the summary, how this all comes together. So I also had a rally section. The rally is quite consistent with it. I have a round wheel. I just don't want to make this video too long. The round wheel works great, and you guys would have seen me use this on stream as well in the meantime before this video is released. So that's a very convincing experience. I am 100% sold on the force feedback. Force feedback is, when people say Simucube has the best force feedback, maybe they don't have a lot of perspective, but they're not wrong either. Is Simucube the best? Is it much better than the competition? I think it's very similar. The likes of Asetek, the likes of the high-powered Simagic bases, we're really in a realm here. I think I got it more with the Moza R21, the old one, than with the newer R25. There's a very, very good... The Moza R21 had a little bit of it was a little bit softer, smoother. There's a great rawness to the Simucube, but it also doesn't feel like it's going to rip off your hand. Simagic did a good job with that. There are lots of other bases that did a super job with that. I like the old Simplicity, which is similar to the VRS. High-powered wheelbases tend to get it right. The people who are watching this video right now are either curious about Simucube, maybe they're yet to make their forever move, or they're SC2 owners, they're like, should I upgrade? If you have the money, you will still get good money for your SC2 Pro. By all means, go for it. The reasons I would say this is a good purchase is you've got steering wheel ability to connect steering wheels like this. As we see, we've got some LED issues. I'm very confident that they're just software issues. I really wish those issues weren't here for my day one release. That again is why this is a first impressions video and not a review, even though a lot of what is said in this video will constitute, enough to, I guess, give you guys the ammo to be able to buy it or not. The wheelbase is €1,600. The steering wheel is 1,400. That includes your SC Link. It includes your quick release. It includes all these paddles. It includes the extra rotaries, because I've got the Pro SAVU here. There's also a sport version of the SAVU. The SAVU wheel surprised me. It's much better than it looks. I think there are a lot of good looking wheels out there. Simucube, for a first attempt at a wheel like this, has done an amazing job. The grips are fantastic. I think they've taken a leaf out of Bavarian Simtek's book and really paid attention to those grips. Everything is very nicely within reach. I've used this for iRacing for the last couple of weeks now, and everything is very, very easy to do. The shifters are very, very accurate. I've absolutely no issues. The clutch paddles are a little bit light for me, but that said, they don't really affect my performance as far as I can see. I don't use clutch paddles as much as I used to because I do a lot of rolling starts doing IMSA and the likes. But it's, yeah, all around it's a super product. It's very, very high quality, and I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed with it. The price tag is, by modern standards, a little bit high. You don't have to, if you have the SC3, you won't have a USB cable hanging off here. For €1,400, would I get this, or would I get like an Asetek Invicta steering wheel, which is similar price, or even an Asetek Forte steering wheel, or a Leo XZ or something like that? I would probably be more tempted to get a Leo XZ with the wireless and be done with it. Hopefully they can also provide a quick release that will grab the power from the Simucube wheelbase. But yeah, I think the price is high. I think you are talking, Rolls-Royce, Bentley type of standard. You don't necessarily get all the goodies you'll get on your high-end BYD or your, even BMW. But there's a certain level of refinement, reliability, and maybe reliability isn't the best for those car brands, but there's a certain amount of prestige associated with it that really justifies the price tag. Also, it's largely European, so there's a lot of that to it. Simucube has like 50 employees. It's a big company, and things in Europe tend to be more expensive. And if we had more manufacturers in the States, we would also see that prices they tend to be a lot more than what we see coming out of China. So the force feedback experience is phenomenal though, guys. What a smile I must have had on that video. I haven't watched it back yet, obviously, because I'm still recording it. But force feedback wise, I mean, geez, once you have this on your rig, do you ever want to change to anything else? Probably not. Maybe out of curiosity, but no, it's absolutely phenomenal. The base mounting is a hugely welcome thing for me. The front mount I haven't tried, but I prefer to base mount my wheelbases these days. The LEDs, I wish they sorted the LEDs. It's such a big visual thing for me. Everything else they've nailed. At least it's only a software thing, and they'll get that done at some stage. The software is really good. I think you need to, if you're interested, you need to play with it. If you're not interested, you saw how easily I loaded profiles. I was able to identify things with the profiles that I didn't necessarily like and that I wanted to change, so I changed them. I know what I'm looking for. Hopefully that gave you some inspiration as to what you might be looking for as well. But it was still a great experience with those default profiles, or with James Baldwin's profile in this circumstance. I'm going to try other sims with the other profiles as well. I have already done so, including James Baldwin's iRacing profile, and it was really good. So I liked it. That was in GT3 cars, which don't have the same force feedback experience as something like what I was driving in Assetto Corsa. But yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of a feel, a little bit of an insight into what it's like. You've spent €3,000 on this. What is it like? It is exceptional. If you have the €3,000, if you're looking for something like this, an absolute no-brainer for me. If you're already watching this video, you're probably already swaying towards it. I have no reasons to not do it. Any issues that I have are software issues. I did highlight the little bit of anodization issue, but that's not going to be an issue for you guys. They're definitely going to fix that. That's it for me, guys. I will continue to use this for my long-term review. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 o'clock UK and Irish time. Until then, I'll chat to you later.